We should be live any second now.
Okay. I see us on Twitch.
Okay.
I see us.
Well, I don't see us on Twitch.
I see us
no
on YouTube's.
Got us on the YouTubes. We were on Twitch, but no, we're not on Twitch. We're live, but there's a black screen. Hold on. There we go. Okay, we're good.
There now.
We're good.
Okay.
We are rocking and a rolling.
No cursing.
In the free world.
We've got to keep it for 7 seconds.
Yeah. Let's behave ourselves.
It's like 2 minutes.
Is it 2 minutes?
Is it?
Yeah.
I'm glad you called it out because I was about to drop the F-bomb.
Oh. I thought it was 7 seconds before you could swear.
I did too.
2 minutes.
No, it's like there's tiers
really
to
2
it.
minutes?
I think the first 7 seconds is you get demonetized. I think the first 2 minutes is you get suppressed.
Oh. I wonder if that explains some of our episodes.
Well, okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think we've said a naughty to this point.
It's a good thing that we're a good Christian podcast and we never do anything wrong.
Let's just not start the podcast until we're 2 minutes in. Then we'll be
yeah.
Everybody
just
shut
sit
up
here in silence for 2 minutes.
I'll just start a starting student screen and we'll just play some music. I heard Kendrick Lamar has a great one that came out recently. I'll just play that on loop 6 times. That'll be great. Everybody loved that.
My biggest enjoyment lately on TikTok is watching younger folks listen to early Eminem tracks, and I'm dying.
Oh yes,
I love the earlier stuff, and people can't handle it, and I'm just rolling.
You can't handle the Eminem.
All right, I gotta think of a one-liner.
Do you want me to host this one, or did you want to host?
Yeah, you could. You hosted the last one that you and I did, so I assumed you wanted it to be. But I'm totally fine with you hosting. I'm fine with that.
Because I just figure, the 2 topics. The first one it's mostly going to be you talking and giving your impressions. So, and then the rest.
You got it, baby.
Questions.
I'll just rip all my stuff off, and you're good. You're good. I was like,
you can Erdtree when you're dead.
Yeah. If you liked it, you should have put an Erdtree on it. Stupid.
You know what? Yeah. I'm going with it. If you liked it, you should have put an Erdtree on it. Look, if you don't like that opening one line, who are you to tell me in a podcast? Are you gatekeeping me on how I podcast? Really? Shadows of the Erdtree and Gatekeeping this week on.
Don't not right line over the intro.
Don't gatekeep me. I can talk when I want.
Don't gatekeep when we can talk.
Hey, it's been over 2 minutes. Fuck,
thank God. That 2-minute thing is going to mess me up, I tell you.
Oh my goodness, guys. It's not that hard.
It is that hard. Have you heard me talk?
Welcome everybody to another episode of Press Me to Cancel. Look, if you like a show where a bunch of old white guys debate topics, just rest assured that at least we're under 70. I am Sick Jake, your host this week, and I'm joined by 3 friends. Sinister, how you doing this week?
Fantastic. How about you?
Wait, did I count? I got it right.
No, he's right. You got it right. He did it right. We always do.
Wolf, how you doing this week?
I'm doing okay. I think we beat Medicaid.
Oh God,
that was what you were looking for, right?
That's right on brand. I don't want to go into it, but yes, that was exactly what the joke was. That's perfect. We're gonna be okay. Everybody has bad debate nights. It's fine. It's okay. Yes. Jared, how are you doing? Are you fine?
Great. I was good when we started, but someone put a GREAT at the end of mine, so we're rocking. That's spelling. That's great.
Mm-hmm.
I'm good.
All right, welcome everybody. Wow, I already did that line. It's been a week. Look, we're going to talk about a couple things this week. Chief among them, there's this game called Elden Ring. I don't know. Some people like it. Might have been game of the year in some weird categories. I don't know. But definitely Chard's favorite game of the last 2 years. And it just got a huge expansion, Shadow of the Erdtree, which almost every media outlet is giving it glowing reviews. There's only 2 that kind of knocked it for difficulty, and we'll get to there. But first, we want to talk about Elden Ring, Erdtree expansion. Does this bring you back your interest in Elden Ring? Are you playing Erdtree? Can you play it? How should you play Souls games? And the whole internet discourse of how people seem to always have an opinion on how you play these freaking games. So I guess let's start off with Jared. I think you're the only one of us playing the expansion. Is that right?
Playing,
I guess.
yes. I think
Okay.
I'm bringing at least 2 or 3 of you with me. I know that for a fact. So you guys may not be playing it, but you are hopefully enjoying the what you've been shown so far. But yes, I've been playing it. I have about 180 hours in Elden Ring right now, which includes the DLC. Oh, excuse me. So my last 2 weeks, 36 hours, which makes sense for the expansion being dropped, and a total of 196.6 hours. I'm coming for you, Final Fantasy VIII. Just so you know. Since Wolf called me out the last time on the most played game I have, which is actually Final Fantasy 11 Zodiac. No, 12 Zodiac. This is probably going to top that. I have a feeling this is going to break that number.
That's crazy.
Well, really quickly, I want to give my take because it's stupid quick on Erdtree, and that is dragons are so stupid. And that is one fucked up hippopotamus. That's all I'm saying.
It is.
Okay.
Truth.
Yeah. That's my take on Erdtree.
Yeah.
So far.
I mean, I am interested in Erdtree, but I never beat Elden Ring to begin with. I dumped about 90 hours into it the first time, never did finish it. And I picked it up again now. Watching you play it kind of sparked that bug of playing Elden Ring again. So I've been slowly working my way through it. I might actually beat it this time. Maybe. I don't want to promise anything because I have a whole, schedule of Street Fighter 6 playing for the next 5 to 6 months.
I am willing to give on Street Fighter 6 Platinum if you beat Elden Ring.
I'd be totally on board for that as well. I support that decision.
Yeah.
It's probably going to be roughly the same time sync, but at least
it's going to be and difficulty.
Okay. Just the base game, or do I have to do the DLC?
Oh,
just the base game?
No, just the base game. But but what I want out of you,
it's got caveats.
I have caveats because you can beat the base game. It's not that bad. I want you to take on at least Millennia.
I was playing too. So that was the one question I have with this game is the base game, and we'll get back to the expansion because it ties into it. The base game, you only need to get 2 of the shard bears, 2 of the main runes before you can beat the game. Although I don't know how that's possible because the last city is fucking hard. How many of them should I actually beat? Is it worth doing all of the bosses in the base game?
Yes, I think so.
Okay.
Well, seriously, I think it is because and not even like you don't have to do all the dungeons and caves and stuff, but I think doing everything, at least the main line stuff, you get better gear, you get more experience, you get better runes, and you get cool weaponry and stuff that you can upgrade and take with you to make it a little bit easier. I've been using Moog's spear for the last couple of, I guess, Trident, that thing that you see me running around with,
pitchfork that goes up
thing. Yeah. That thing is awesome. And you only get it if you beat the secret boss Moog, which gets you into the Erdtree, but we'll talk about that later. But I mean, you would miss out on something like that if you didn't go looking for it. You know what I mean? If you don't fight, there's an NPC that gives you rivers of blood that's in the Giants Mountains of Giants, like late game, and I ran rivers of blood for like eternity after.
Isn't that how you defeat? Isn't that how you defeated Melania, whatever it is?
Yep. Yeah, I heard blood was the way to go.
Trump's wife. Yeah.
Yeah, that one.
Oh, that's gonna live my head rent free now. That's one scary boss fight.
But yeah, I think you get more experience, not just experience like runes experience, but like experience playing against different kind of tactics that you can feel out what works best. You'll die a lot, but that's part of learning. That's part of the game.
That's the game.
So, yeah. And you're using this. I used a spellcaster too, so you're running the same kind of magic build that I had, and I think it made it a little bit easier. Of course, I like to, pretend I'm a strength build every time I play when I'm not playing one. So, but I think you have that not in your head, so you're already at a better pace than I was when I first started.
Yeah, this second time going through the game has been interesting for me. I definitely love the spells. I was doing faith strength last time I played, and I mean I like the melee combat. It's fun, but only to a certain point. I have attention span for it because some of the boss battles, you get 2 shots so easily in this game, and that's part of the appeal. I get it, but at least with the mage build, I usually summon a spirit because
Appeal.
they're in the game. I summon the spirit, and then I fill my bar, and then I'll sling magic rocks at the boss, and I usually get him halfway down. And at that point, I'll switch to I think I have a katana right now, and I'll use that, and it's fun. For me, that's a nice mix of like spells and melee combat. I don't feel like I'm doing the same thing too often, and it's been working so far. I mean, I'm 2 bosses down, but I was curious how many I should do, because when I first played, I did Godric, of course, Rihanna,
Road, be. I can't remember.
Rena?
Her name.
What's
It's in my
the
book,
lady who
Rena.
lets you
Well,
respect?
Rini is her daughter, but there's
The mom.
Rolana or Rena. Yeah.
The one with the weird egg thing going on, and then Radon. I beat Radon last time.
Hold on.
Oh no, he's gonna get the book. Well, it's been a great show, guys. We're now going to switch over to
Bingo!
the Elden Ring lore podcast with Chard for the next 6 hours. Oh
I'm
God, he's
not
opening the
speaking
book.
lore. It's getting names. Jesus.
But when I
Anyways,
played last
continue. I'll
time,
find her name.
there was 3. So I spent 90 hours, and I swear I only saw like 3 zones. Like there are zones I'm seeing now that I never even touched, and it blows my mind how large this game's map is. Like, it is truly open world in a scale I haven't seen in anything else. The closest I've seen, maybe Morrowind, or maybe Breath of the Wild or Twilight Kingdom, because it's just such a huge scope. So I don't know.
The best part about the map when in the base game is it starts really zoomed in on Limgrave, like right when
Right.
you started out. So when you're playing it for the first time ever, and you're like, people say this game is really big, but it doesn't appear that way. I mean, you haven't unlocked it. There's fog of war around you, of course, because you got to go find all the rest of the map pieces. But as the game progresses, it opens up. Literally, your map gets further and further away. Your camera gets further and further away of the map. So then it turns out to be freaking enormous. And that's not even counting the underground stuff, and some of the other places. Yeah. It's crazy.
Yeah, like when
I prefer to
go ahead.
I prefer to call it Middle Earth, not the underground. Middle Earth. Anyway.
Middle lower.
So it's estimated to be about 30.5 square miles or 79 square kilometers.
Good Lord.
That's pretty friggin' big.
That's a hefty map.
Like, I swear that's bigger than most MMO maps, to be honest with you. Like, I think that trumps Guild Wars 2, and that's a game with a lot of different zones. And this is all seamless, right? There's no loading times as you move through areas. The most you get is an elevator occasionally, and it's still not really loading. It's not like a Mass Effect situation. But yeah, the map is ridiculously huge, and it's packed with secrets. It's crazy. But anyway, so you get the runes from the bosses. The one thing I was surprised about when the expansion was released is it's clearly not for everybody who's played Elden Ring. Like, you have to have beaten it, but not only just beating it, you have to have beaten certain bosses. So what actually do you need to do to get to the expansion chart? You said beat Moog, who's one of the hidden bosses.
Yep. Moog is the more obvious one. Also, it's Renala, Queen of the Full Moon. Thank you.
There you go. Okay.
I'm sorry. I can't lose my cred. All right. So you have to beat Moog, and at first it was slated to be like, you should beat Rodon, but you don't have to beat Rodon. And then it turned into, yes, you actually have to beat Rodon. So Rodon, for those who don't know, he's the guy on the little horse, big motherfucking dude on the tiny horse that you do the whole battlefield thing with, where you can summon a bunch of people.
It's actually one of my favorite battles I watched you fight. It's a
cool fight. He opens up the underground section essentially. When he dies, a comet falls from the sky. There's a whole lore thing about Rainy the Witch. Her destiny has been stalled because Rodon has halted the ability for the stars to move with his gravitational magic. And once you kill him, you're getting lore. Once you kill him, that magic gets broken, and then the stars move, and Ronnie's destiny then can be pushed forward. And there's a comet that hits the earth and opens up the start of the underground area where you can go underground and explore Nostika, I think is what it's called, and all the other routes down there. Now, Moog's location is underground. So, but You can still. I was playing this on New Game Plus, so I'm trying to remember why that needed to happen. I'm assuming it had to be unlocked because of that, because you can go all the way to the snowy fields and take a warp and warp straight into Moog's area to just fight your way up that hill. But highly recommend you do that at a higher level because you will get massacred unless you run really fast. You can get your
The other way of getting to Moog is the way I do it is you do the PvP introduction. Right? You talk to the guy with the white mask and you do his thing. Yeah.
Yep. White Mask Var is the other one, which is the first NPC you meet when you leave and enter the worlds between. He's the guy that tells you that you're maidenless. But if you do his mission, you can get into Moog's area with that way too. That's actually, I think, the quicker way than doing the snowy field.
Well, especially if you want to do it early, right? Because the snowy area, I don't think I've seen that yet. I don't think so. That's the way north of the map. So yeah,
way late.
Been there.
That's super late game. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the one thing I love about Elden Ring is that you can, even low level, get pretty much most of the map if you really want to find a certain specific item that somebody told you that's good. But I mean, there are still parts that are locked off, which is fine. So you have to beat Moog and you have to beat Radon, and then you kind of so then you go from there. So you had mentioned earlier that it's great to do all the bosses because you get cool gear and levels and all that kind of stuff. How much of that matters though in the expansion? Because I think you have to explain what they did with the expansion to make it not so cut and dry, easy peasy with your build, right?
So there's this might segue into our gatekeeping discussion that we'll have with this. I don't know, but so basically what they did, and a lot of people, there are people that don't like this. I thought it was cool because Elden Ring is the most open and accessible game to anybody who wants to play a Fromsoft type game that is an Armored Core 6. Basically, if you want to play something that's like Dark Souls-esque, but you don't want the hard linear playthrough and the bosses you have to deal with, and you can go around and do your thing, that's what Elden Ring kind of is. But I think people were gatekeeping on stuff. Again, another discussion that we'll have here a little bit. And what I think the team did was like, F you guys, we give you these things to use them. You should use them. Even Miyazaki was like, use them. I use them when I play them, and I'm the president of FromSoft. They basically said all of your over leveling and everything is not going to matter. You can sit and farm till you're 351 levels, which I've seen and can be done. Doesn't matter. Doesn't make an ode a difference, because as soon as you cross into the shadow area, the shadow realm, you have to start looking for shadow blessings to up your damage negation and your damage output, as well as Reverend Ashes that will allow your summons to become stronger and more useful out there. So there are specific items for your summons to make them better in the new area. It's not like it's the Glassgull or the Glowwort stuff that you find in dungeons that will level them up outside of the game. You actually have to find the Reverend Ashes to make them strong too. So they're in the game to be there. So I didn't think, what I think that the devs did were like, we don't want people just to walk in here and just walk through the DLC and not appreciate it for what a FromSoft game is. We want people to have the same exact challenge that they had when they first started the game up and dive in and do their thing. And they delivered. They definitely delivered on that promise.
Yeah, the interview that you mentioned about Miyazaki, he said he wanted to go back to Elden Ring himself before, they were working on Erdtree. And yeah, he flat out said, I suck at these video games and I use everything. Like he says, the spirits and all the stuff we put in the game to make it more easy to get through the boss encounters, I use that stuff. I use all that stuff, which I think he probably came out publicly to say that because of some of the discourse going on lately. Go ahead.
Yeah.
I don't know if we're segueing into this conversation. It kind of feels like we are. So I'll say a piece here, which is, honestly, if the game gives it to you, how is it, misusing?
Yeah.
Right?
And I mean, that's a thing I've heard since I was a kid. Like, you'd be playing games with your friends and you'd do something. They'd be like, you can't do that. That's cheating. It's like, it's in the game.
It's in the game.
The game has a button for it. Like,
it's not like I've pulled out my Game Genie and, I'm using that.
Don't you make me. That drawer right there.
Genie. It's not like I've pulled out my Game Genie and like, you know, input a code. These are like, in fact, at one point in the game, you find the lady that gives you the ability to use the summons.
Yeah, real early.
It's also not like, you know, Tunic, where you go into the menu and set the accessibilities.
Right.
This is a in-game function.
Yep. That's like saying you can't drink your healing potions in the middle of a fight.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, if you want to set your own rules for how you enjoy the game, that's fine.
Yeah.
If other people enjoy it by doing what you might consider cheesing, who cares if they're enjoying like they're enjoying a game you enjoy? Why? Where's the problem there? Right?
I watched Chard beat a boss with the trident, the Moog trident, where there was a wall, and he utilized the wall to put the wall between him and the boss, and he just sat there and used the ability that's an area of effect. And I gave him crap. I said he was cheesing it to hell.
That was hella cheesy.
But at the same time, he didn't break anything in the game to make it work.
Yeah. You know how many bosses I cheesed in the messenger? Like, I figured out ways that were cheesy to beat bosses in that game because that's part of what I find fun.
Yeah.
How often do you circle a pillar to keep the pillar between you and an enemy, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
all the time. You're watching me way too much.
Sorry, Wolf. Sorry, Wolf. Go ahead.
Oh, no. Like, I mean, that's not... There's nothing wrong with trying to keep yourself safe during a boss fight, right?
Right.
I mean, that was part of a strategy in another game I'm playing. I've been working on Escape the Backrooms with a friend of mine. And
I saw you pop on.
There's a lot of times that the monsters, like, you got to put a pillar between you and them so they can lose track of you sometimes. And it's like, this is how you do it. Like, it's a little cheesy because you didn't keep running and jump into a closet or under a bed or some garbage like that. But I mean, if they lose track of you, they lose track of you.
Right.
It's effective.
Right.
So
if you're safe, you're safe.
I want to do a blanket statement here just so people understand what the discussion is, because we kind of fired.
Yeah, we fired right through.
So there's a whole Reddit team. There's a whole like group of people that have basically come out and said, during Elden Ring, if you use any of the summons, you are cheating and you're not a real Fromsoft, Dark Souls, Soulsborne player, because you are using effects that are making the game too easy for you and making the bosses manageable in some sense. Sinistar and Jake have both watched me repetitively use summons and still get my ass kicked every single goddamn time. So the idea is, now, because the Erdtree has come out, this is what I love so much. I feed off of this stuff, guys. Just FYI, I feed off of this absolute like total flip floppy bullshit that you hear.
It's hypocrisy. It's hypocrisy.
Totally. I love the hypocrisy of it. So now, because the Erdtree game has come out, and you are basically, I wouldn't say forced. Forced is not the way to use it, but it is in your best interest to utilize the summons and anything that can help you get through the bosses, because it has amped up the difficulty quite a bit. People are now backtracking on the things that they said previously, saying, you know what? It's okay now. No, it's fine. No, use
it's in the game. What's wrong with it? It's fine now.
You're totally okay to use it now. Don't think you're not a player anymore because you have to use your summons. Use them. That's what they're there for. 2 years ago was not the case. No, get out of here. You can't do that. You're not really playing this right, as if there's a wrong way to play it. So that's the basis of how we're gonna get into like kind of some gatekeeping discussion on this.
And I'm gonna even set the bar even lower than this, because to me, I've talked about if it's in the game, it's not cheating. But I'm going to take it to a next tier, which is if it's a single player game. Okay, if you're playing online, we can have a discussion beyond what's built into the game. But if you're playing it solo, single player, and you pull out a mod or a cheat or a hack or whatever that makes the game playable for what you desire, who gives a shit? If you know what, move along, haters.
Right. No, I get it.
I've said off the episode before, where it's like, if I was at the point where, I wouldn't mind playing with a mod that gave you more flasks, just double the flasks, and then I would still have a blast with this game. And I don't see a problem if somebody wants to do that. I'm with you. If it's not online, or cheating online and affecting other people's enjoyment of the game online, who the hell cares?
You're not changing anything for me.
Particularly a game that doesn't have any ranked leaderboards or any garbage like that.
Right.
You're not affecting other players. It's literally your experience versus the next player's experience with the exact same game.
Right.
That's all it is.
It's
Like-
not somebody trying to diamond Street Fighter 6.
It's not even, I mean, it's not people that are,
Nor is Jake.
Here's the other thing about, so we'll zip back to the actual Elden Ring discussion real quick. So they amped up the difficulty, right? You got to find all this stuff. Their reviews on day one, overwhelmingly positive on Steam. Everybody loved it. Everybody was pumped about it. I freaking loved it. I was totally taken back by the whole thing. And I'm still in that headspace. It's a Fromsoft game. When I was getting my ass kicked by the Golden Hippo, Sinistar, what did I say over and over again?
I hate this
what
game.
I bought.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't say I hate this game. I said, nope, I'm not going to get mad.
You know what?
This is what I paid for. This is my expectation. This is what I should be doing.
That's true.
And
you haven't gotten
to get through it.
Yeah.
No, I haven't gotten to hate this game part yet.
Yeah.
But this is my expectations are there. I'm barely gonna one shot anything. It's just not gonna happen because you got to learn. It's a strategy. It's as much as it's an ARPG, it's a fucking strategy too, right? I mean, it really is. So because of this, and because you can't just go out and farm in Moog's Palace like I have been doing, thousands and thousands of ruins, and then take your newly acquired strength into the next world and just beat the ever living crap out of anything, people started getting upset and saying, this game is too hard. This game is too hard. This game is too hard. Did we mention this game is too hard? It blows my mind.
I just have to ask, when's it going to be right?
It's never going to be right. That's like saying Flight Simulator has too much flying in it.
Well, it does.
Well, so
I want a car. I bought Flight Simulator to drive.
Yeah.
But
then go buy a driving. Go buy Forza, dude. Like, if you don't ruin it for everybody else. And they did, essentially. They ruined it for everybody else.
Well, then
guess what patch was released not too long ago? They made it so that the Skidoo tree blessings, that's how I pronounce it, it's 62 Skidoo tree. Now they peak your negation and your attack output higher in the first like couple, and then they start to taper more. So because people were complaining so much about how hard it was, I wasn't complaining. I was angry from time to time, but I knew what I signed up for. Now we are, and now everybody's mad that they wouldn't put this patch in to make it easier for everybody. And it's not that much. I don't feel like it's that much easier. I don't know if I don't have the patch or not, because
there's no hard numbers on what the change actually did. But and some people are saying they almost think tongue in cheek that it was a placebo effect. Fromsoft just want to put a bug in people's ear that, hey, look, assholes, we put these trees in there. They're there for a reason. Go get the damn seeds from these trees. And that this is one way of saying, hey, we made it better for you. But they did similar with a patch in the base game as well. Because I remember I've just spent hours in Radon. I hate that son of a bitch. That tiny little horse riding motherfucker. I hate him so much, Chard. It took me hours. And then after I finally beat it, I think a week later, they released a patch that nerfed his damage a bit. It's still a hard-ass fight, I'm sure. It's still ridiculously hard.
Well, Chard should be pissed. Chard should be pissed right now because they added a patch that makes it so you can fight the end boss on your horse.
Yeah.
And Chard beat it the hard way.
I did that shit on my feet.
So fuck everybody else.
The only thing that sucks about that is it takes a while to get through the arena because it's a big arena.
It's a huge arena.
But I mean, it's funny to me. There's mods out there that make the game harder, and they have characters, and it's called lore accurate Rodon or lore accurate Melania or whatever. And it is insanity. I've been watching Let Me Solar Her's TikTok, and he's got these TikToks on there of him fighting like these super boosted boss fights. It is madness. You think that anything that comes out of the Erdtree is hard? Go watch lore accurate fights about it's like Rodon. It's madness. It's absolutely madness. So, and I haven't finished a lot. I haven't finished all of Erdtree. Like I got to Mesmer and I've beaten a couple of the mainline bosses. So I don't know what's still out there. So if I'm missing something, don't at me, because I don't. I'm sure I'm missing some shit.
You're 39 hours in, you think you said so far?
Yep, 30,
which is
36 in the last 2 weeks. Yeah.
Yeah, which is, I heard Mesmer's like is like a checkpoint boss in terms of like just making sure you have enough seeds, like the skadoosh seeds or whatever, to be a certain power level. And that's like a skill. Like once you beat him, it's like a hump. That's like Radon was, I think, in the base game. Once you beat Radon, I think you can get through a lot of the game.
I always thought that he was like the end. If he's not the end, then I'm not going to be upset, because I thought for sure he was like.
No, Mesmer's not the end. I think that this is the thing with this game that I think I appreciate more than. I don't think it should be called a DLC. I think this is one of those rare times we actually got an honest to goodness expansion for a game, right? We used to get expansions in the 90s for CRPGs, like Throwing a Ball, right? Had an expansion, I believed, in it, or was it the first game that had one?
Ultima 7's expansion.
Right.
Yeah, there you go. Ultima 7's expansion was nearly another game. I mean, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Or Neverwinter Nights. I loved the hell of Neverwinter Nights, and I got 2 expansions, and those were beefy, meaty expansions. And we don't get too many of those these days, and it's usually just these shorter, bite-sized DLCs, or even a dozen-hour DLC, which is pretty good these days. But people kind of got upset a bit with the cost of this one. But when I see like you've put 40 hours into it, and I think you're maybe halfway if we're being generous, like you got a lot to go, and that's 40 hours of gameplay is pretty nuts.
What was it that I think that the DLC for Witcher, the first one, was listed as like 20 something hours, right?
Yeah.
And that plays like its own story, and you're still you're not pissed at the end of it, you know?
Yeah.
I think that's the closest thing to what Erdtree is for Elden Ring, is basically like Witcher DLC, because even the Dark Souls 3 expansions or the DLCs that came out, you got like 4 new bosses like between the two. And it's an extra, I mean, if you beat the bosses quickly, the games that they don't last very long, but obviously you're going to be stuck against a wall. So you got some time to feed into that. But I mean, this is, there are people in my stream that have been watching this. I don't mean to self-promote myself here, but there are people that have been hanging out on my stream. I know, shocker. What? Chard's being humble today?
That's twitch.tv/chardmonk, twitch.tv/chardmonk.
Pressb.com/chardmonk.
No, God damn it. Pressb.org. Can't afford the .com.
There are people in my stream that were kind of iffy on Elden Ring. They didn't think it was, all that stuff. But watching the Erdtree and seeing what they've done to it has made them want to go back. Jake, you're a perfect example of that. Not that you hated it, but you didn't want to go back, and now you do. So they've been able to bring another audience in just by watching, and the things that they've changed in Erdtree are things I wish that they would have put into the main game too, because it's some cool shit. It's really, really well done. I think it's basically its own game. It could have easily been Elden Ring 2 if it wanted to be. Maybe
so I think that was the interview with Miyazaki. That was one of the things he said as well, is that when they released the game, I don't think they initially expected the how the open world would affect how players can customize their difficulty. Because I think when we did an Elden Ring episode in the past, I think I may have mentioned complaints about, there should be some accessibility or difficulty options of some kind in the game. You almost don't need to in the way that it's there if you think about it with an open mind. In that, and I do this, right, where if I get stuck at Stormville Castle, the very first boss, I struggle with the first boss twice now, but I don't have to kill him right then and there. There's a whole map you can explore and mess around with and level up in. And then when you're ready, or when you're a little bit higher in level, then you can go and fight the boss. Sure, if I was like a really great gamer and I was really good at the dodge game, then I can go there at level 1 if I wanted to. Like you have the option to level yourself higher than you need to beat certain bosses. And I love that about the game, because you don't feel stuck or trapped like you do in the other Souls games. You have the freedom to explore and level up and come back. And I think that's one of the reasons why people are so pissed at Erdtree, is because they can't necessarily do that. They have, or maybe they've done the exploring before and they don't want to do it again, maybe. But I do want to ask, like you said, there's changes in Erdtree. Like, what did they change that you wish they did in the first game? Because they definitely learned lessons from the first game.
The game is not as big as Elden Ring, but it is still very big. And like Sinistar and I both said, it's almost topical. Like is that the right word? Vertical. It's vertical, not topical.
Vertical.
Okay. It's more. There's more depth to it and height to it than there is flat out like location. I'm still trying to find all the damn map pieces because you have to go under things to get to them, or over things, or around. It's kind of crazy how they just made it more 3D than spread out over it. There feels like there's a lot more variety in the enemies that you run into and bosses that you run into. A lot of the weaponry has its own kind of identity. That's pretty neat. It's with a game as massive as Elden Ring and as open as it is, you are bound to just run into repetitive bosses and creatures. It's bound to happen. There's too much space to spend. They'd spent how many years on building this, and then how many more years on putting unique creatures in it. It's not going to happen. It's not. And I didn't have a beef with it, but I know a lot of people do. But I feel so every time I fight something different. A golden hippopotamus is a boss. Like, it's so random, but it's still cool because it's me.
Isn't that in Toe Jam and Earl?
It's a hippopotamus.
Maybe.
It's a hippopotamus. It's a hippopotamus in name only.
Yeah, it's a hippopotamus rat. It's got a big mouth, and a porcupine.
And
it's got a whole thing.
Long.
It's very long.
Yeah, and it turns into a porcupine.
There's no. This game is still not linear. Like, it's not like Dark Souls. You can explore the whole thing and go wherever you want. Now you are walled off on certain areas because you have to get items to unlock stuff, but it's not like unlocking an entire castle. It's unlocking a portion of a castle or a portion of this, that, and the other. So it just feels, with it being smaller, it feels like there's more to do. Does that make sense? Like, it feels more dense. There's been a lot of complaints about people feeling lonely or feeling like there's not a lot out there in the world as there was in Elden Ring, and I don't believe that to be true myself. I just think the sights are beautiful. Like, I just think it's very, very, it's pretty. It's pretty to look at. It's easy on the eyes. There's dragons freaking everywhere. There's a level that's like, the top of it's like red flowers, so it's got kind of a red glow, and below that there's blue flowers, so it's got a blue glow like underneath that. It's some of the things that they've come up with are very stunning to look at, and there hasn't been a moment where I've been like, wow, I wish something would come and kill me, because that's basically what happens when you're out in the open world. I don't know. I like its verticality. I like that you have to go up to go down and go around to go up and all this other stuff. I think it's really cool. But I will say that the more annoying part because of that is that I can't find myself around. So when I'm looking at the map, I just think that I could just run towards where it's at. And that's not the case. You have to find whatever path gets you down there. So I'm heading north, but I need to go northwest, then north, then east, then south to get northeast that I was trying to get to. So it's got its own little puzzle that's attached to it. But I think the bosses are cool. I've really enjoyed most of the fights that I've been in. Some of them have been frustratingly hard. There's times, to be honest with you, viewers and listeners, where you can't even summon. There's not enough time to summon anything into the realm to even help you. So if you're calling people out for that, you can't even do it. There's not enough time. You have to find a window in an attack that has a wind up or like a recovery time that you can then go, okay, I can summon them now, but I have to avoid all of this crap first before I can call for help. So even I was telling Sistar, and I think Jake was there too. I was like, I'm just gonna try hard this guy because I can't get anybody in here with me to assist me. It's not gonna happen. So, and then strategy wins because you watch and see what the attacks are, and you find windows to either attack or summon or do whatever you need to do. But that's what you bought. That's what you paid for. You paid for a hard game. If you're gonna buy something from FromSoft, it's gonna be hard. Armored Core 6 is freaking hard. That game is no walk in the park. It's probably easier than Dark Souls free to fight, but it's still fucking hard. I mean, it's a tough goddamn game.
Shadows Die Twice was a ridiculous. I mean,
that's what you get. That's what you get.
That end battle in Shadows Die Twice, dear Lord,
so good, so good.
Like when I saw the reviews for Erdtree and like everything was glowing except there was 2, and their complaint was that it was too hard. I'm like, how the hell? If somebody wants to buy an expansion to Elden Ring, an expansion they know they can't access until late in the game, why wouldn't they want it hard? Wouldn't they, if it was easier or moderately difficult, wouldn't they be upset? Wouldn't they feel cheated? Because you want that pain.
If I was just walking through the DLC, I would be very irritated.
Yeah.
I just told you I thought I got to Mesmer. I thought that was the last boss. I was like, there's no way I'm already here yet. There's no way that I'm already at the end of it. You just made my day by saying that.
I'm pretty sure you got a lot more to go, if I'm not wrong, but I can check after. Yeah, beefy expansion. One thing about you can't summon, and summons is one thing that people used to complain about as making the game too easy, whatever the hell that means. But the one thing that you can also summon is other players, and I don't think you don't do the multiplayer at all, right, Chard? I don't even think you get the signs in the ground. You don't read anything. So
nope. You can get the NPC signs on the ground, but I don't have it on. I don't have it turned on. A while back there was a bug, and it was right before Elden Ring came out, where people were hacking into shit and breaking into your accounts using their connectors. It was DS3.
It was letting people do remote code execution.
Yeah. And I just never turned it on, and then I forgot to turn it back on. And maybe one day I'll do PvP, but I like enjoying it on my own pace without someone coming up behind me and ganking me when I'm like trying to figure out where the hell I'm going.
So I have multiplayer turned on. I haven't summoned anybody for a boss battle this time. When I first played it, I used it in a couple spots, but that's another way you can just make the encounters, easier to a degree. It does make, when you summon an NPC, an actual player, it does increase the boss health pool, I believe.
Yep.
But
does that with the
NPC
too.
Right.
Yep.
Oh, does it? Oh shit.
Yep.
Maybe that's why I'm having some trouble.
If there's a summon signal outside of the door and you're not on multiplayer and you summon it, and this is a Fromsoft thing. This isn't just Elden Ring. This is Dark Souls 1, 2, and 3. Sekiro didn't have any summons that I remember, but that's where the balance comes from, is because you're getting help, right? So the bosses are always going to be tougher because the pool gets bigger. So the only thing that the summons do for me is draw aggro. I don't care if it's doing extra damage. I don't care if it's doing anything. It's giving me room to breathe. That's all that the summons in my mind do for me. Yes, they do attack and they do help from time to time, but there's times where I need to pull back and see what the hell I'm doing and watch the pattern that it's doing against my summon, and then I can go in and hit him with something hard from behind or whatever I need to do to kind of curb it. But it pulls aggro, so it makes it just easier for me to focus on what I'm doing. Yeah.
Good. Well, I'm glad you're enjoying. I'm glad this expansion is good. I'm glad it's so widely well received. It sucks that you picked it for Fantasy Critic, because I think this is a lot of points. If I'm not wrong, it's a full 20 points. 94.
Trust me, I looked today and I went, "Oh, I'm killing it again."
It's you're definitely, you had some good picks. I have to look at what mine are going to be. I'm glad it turned out really well, because sometimes I worry about expansions or these kind of things, and I never know. And I do wonder what Fromsoft will do in the future when it comes to their games. I think the Miyazaki said that this is as big as their team at this size can do in terms of Elden Ring, like just the sheer size of the map and the content, and it's so much, and they're not likely to beat this in terms of scope. So I wonder, do they do an Elden Ring 2, or do they just, they go back and do a Sekiro, but they make it more linear again? Or are they going to keep the open world elements? Because I think he appreciates the open world, like I said before, and how people have embraced that as a way to change difficulty, which I think is interesting. So I am curious what they do next.
I would love a Sekiro open world game. That would be cool.
Yeah.
That would be fun. Sekiro is, I'd love to see a Sekiro 2. Everybody wants Bloodborne 2 to come out at some point, but I don't know if they're going to do a Dark Souls 4. He has said in recent interviews that he'd like to do a traditional Japanese RPG is what he would really like to do. So I don't know where that takes him. If he does something a little off the cusp than what we're used to doing with the ARPGs that his team produces, I'd still play it. Be hard as hell, but I'd still play it.
Not all their games are hard though. They've done other stuff besides these tough as nails Souls games.
What's the cookie one that they did? Milk and cookies or something? Cookies and cream.
Oh yeah, cookies and cream.
The hamster game.
Yeah. So they've done other stuff. It just they're almost being stereotyped or typecast as a studio that makes bullshit hard games. They don't have to be. They can do other things.
I don't think
Cookies 3D dot game heroes.
Oh yeah. But that also isn't that isn't a hard game, but that's not a terribly easy game.
Right.
I love 3D dot heroes. yeah, but yeah.
Wolf's
I didn't mean to derail things entirely. I just
no, you're
good.
totally right.
Well,
I
to
mean, the
go back
first
to
game they did, I believe, was Kingsfield, which is a dungeon crawler back in,
Right.
I want to say 95
yeah. Well, the
or something
Kingsfield
like
games are kind of hard too, aren't they?
I heard they
Well,
were, yeah.
Milk and Cookies isn't exactly a slouch for difficulty.
Okay. All right. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe all the games are bullshit hard. Some are just cuter than others.
Wow.
Yeah, with a name
Just
like
gotta
Milk
get
and
paid.
Cookies, you're like, this is a deliciously easy game.
Yeah.
No.
Why
With a
is the
snack, I
cookie
could beat in
attacking
an
me? The milk's gone bad.
That's right.
Spoiled milk. Yeah.
It's
Oh my gosh,
burger
they did-
time, but with milk and cookies. No, just kidding.
They did. First off, it's cookie and cream.
Yeah,
Not
Milk
cookie.
and
Cookie.
Yeah.
Eternal Ring and Evergrace for the PS2 were both theirs. Those were pretty early RPGs for the PS2.
Right.
Okay.
We remember we were joking that we thought Elden Ring was a spiritual successor to what the other Elder Ring is what you just said. Whichever one it was on the PS2.
Oh, Eternal Ring.
Eternal Ring, yeah, it was
Eternal Ring.
spiritual successor to Eternal Ring. It's not. It has nothing to do with it. It just has
No,
rings in it.
it's a Soulsborne for sure.
Absolutely. But yeah, Miyazaki has talked about doing a traditional Japanese RPG. The last time, he had talked about the same thing that Jake said about he uses all the same shit that is offered to him when he plays the game, and he sucks at games too.
Yeah.
I've been reading a lot about Miyazaki the last couple of weeks, during my downtime.
I mean,
I think he's a brilliant man.
if gatekeepers want to come talk to Press B to cancel, come at me, bro, because I played Tunic with like all of the enhancements on. So come at me, bro.
I'm
Fuck
the only one that
bar
had
and
both.
Tunic.
Yeah.
I'm the only guy that had all the things turned on still.
Yeah.
I'm the
I
idiot.
do want to
I'm
call
the
it one.
masochist.
If there's any other examples of gatekeeping you guys have to bring up, I have one I wanted to bring up, and it's relevant to me this year, and that's actually Street Fighter 6. One of the things that is pretty revolutionary for it, well, kind of, is instead of having the classic 6-button layout of controls, it's still there. They have a new option called modern controls, which is 4 buttons. And of those 4 buttons, basically it's single button special moves, right? Everybody knows from Street Fighter that you do motion inputs for the special moves. A lot of other games have kind of moved away from that, or they've standardized the inputs, so it's always the same inputs, or like Smash Brothers style, where it's a special button and a direction input to do a special move. Street Fighter 6 now has that kind of option. It's still fairly competitive. I think actually if you play with modern controls, you deal 20% less damage. So they try and balance it out. But you do, when you play against people on modern controls, they're more frequently doing auto combos or certain special moves. And a lot of people in that scene got upset and feel like that's not the way to play Street Fighter, which is kind of bullshit, because the other thing that came in the news recently was Marvel vs. Capcom 2 is finally getting a re-release. But I remember that game on Dreamcast for being so great for me is because it was a 4-button fucking fighting game. It wasn't a 6-button fighting game like the rest of the series was. It was 4.
Right.
So I like how they kind of had that callback for Street Fighter 6. That's an example of gatekeeping. People are upset when they play against players who are playing with the modern 4-button layout with auto combos, which has always been weird to me. So.
There was some gatekeeping in Elden Ring PvP where Rivers of Blood was they wanted it nerfed because it was too powerful, and everybody was running either Moonveil or Rivers of Blood because it killed. It was just a slice and dice weapon. So people were like, you can't fight me with that. I won't play you with that. And it's like, okay, then don't come and get me. Then. Leave me alone. Leave me the fuck alone.
Sorry, you hate life in games. Like it's just so bizarre. Yeah,
I think we should still have a larger episode on gatekeeping. We've talked about it because like gender gatekeeping is a whole subject, right? I mean, that's something that definitely needs to be addressed, but I don't think this episode's the right place for it, but it is something that needs to be called out. There is a lot of gender gatekeeping, right? I mean, girl gamers aren't real gamers, right? Isn't that the case?
Yeah, and that's something I really opened my eyes as a father with 3 daughters. Let me tell you, right? Like just like when you realize like how many games have female protagonists that are not dressed like I mean there's nothing wrong with the skimpy plate mail. That's fine, but when you have 3 kids, maybe they would want heroes that actually look like heroes that
Yeah.
the guy is wearing, right? So I mean, that's why I was kind of a bit excited for the Zelda game that got announced, because I fucking love Zelda. I love the retro Zelda.
Get to play as
you actually get to play as Zelda.
How many years has Zelda's name been in the title, and now you finally get to play as her
in not a crappy game, hopefully.
Yeah.
Right,
Well,
right.
Not Wand of Gamelon.
All right.
No, well, to be fair, there was the Hyrule Warriors game. She was in there, and she's badass in that game. There's also Smash. She's a great character in Smash. But yeah, this is the first game that features her as a title character, and I'm all for it. Even if her special ability is fucking summoning tables, I'll take it. It's fine. Like, she still looks really cool as hell.
I do have to throw out one personal gatekeeping item. So I beat Psychonauts on the original Xbox. I beat Meat Circus on the original hard level difficulty. When it came to PC, they nerfed the difficulty for the Meat Circus. Fuck everybody else.
They're not real gamers.
They're not
if you don't
real
dig out
gamers.
an old Xbox and beat this on hard difficulty,
I
who
beat
are
the
you?
Elden Beast on my 2 feet, not on my horse.
That's right.
Cheaters.
I think it's fair to claim, like, if you beat it on a harder difficulty or whatever as bragging rights,
sure.
Fine,
sure.
But don't shit on other people's play choices.
No.
That's
honestly,
that's where the cutoff is. Like,
honestly,
go ahead. Sorry, I'm gonna give it just.
Yeah, good.
I know people who like won't play a game if you can't play on hard right off the bat, right?
Yeah, right.
And I'm like, that's great for you.
Yeah.
I don't want to struggle.
Yeah.
I want to have a good time. That's why I play games. I don't play games to bang my head against the wall. I do that enough by accident walking around the house.
I have a job during the day. I already do work. Why do I need to do work for my games, right?
Exactly.
And for me, this is why I don't play Animal Crossing, because to me, Animal Crossing feels like chores. But I'm not going to shit on other people playing Animal Crossing.
Right.
I see the appeal. I get it. It's not for me. It feels too much like tedium.
When you're done digging all those clams out of the ocean, you mind doing the dishes, please, for Christ's sake?
Right. As a stay-at-home parent, that's my day every day is chores.
Yeah.
So
you're right.
I'm not excited about, it's not escapism for me. It's more of my day.
so real quick, to bring it back to the Meat Circus, I played Psychonauts recently on the PC port. And I'll be honest with you, when I played the Meat Circus, I was like, am I just really good at this? Like, did I just learn? But no, I learned that they changed the difficulty. And at the end of it, I was like, that was so much more enjoyable. Because that is the only time I can, maybe twice. Sinstress will have to correct me. But that is definitely one time that I threw a controller. That is one of the very, very few times I threw a controller.
I think that checks out. We've had that discussion before.
Yeah.
There's a few games like where I've been replaying them. I haven't played them in a long time. Mass Effect trilogy I played, of course, when they first came out. I played it on normal. I think I even played the original on hard afterwards as well as a New Game Plus type thing. But when they did the remaster trilogy a number of years ago, I picked that up, and when it came time to pick a difficulty, I picked story and difficulty. I picked the easiest difficulty. Why? Because I don't love Mass Effect for the gunplay. I don't like it for the combat. In fact, there are certain sequences when you spend 10 minutes in a combat encounter and you die and you got to start from scratch. It's not fun. I'm there for the experience of the story, the music, the atmosphere. Right. I don't necessarily want challenge in that kind of game. And it's similar with, I've been trying to get through Alan Wake because I want to do an Alan Wake episode with Chard, right? And anybody else who wants to join, of course. Alan Wake is very cool. But when it came time to pick a difficulty, I'm like, do I pick the easy mode or do I pick normal? What do I pick? I just picked easy. I'm glad I did, because that's a game where there's certain sequences that are really cool, but in between is some bullshit ass combat. Yeah. And if I was on a higher difficulty, I would have quit by now. Whereas at least now I can power through it, but it's crazy.
I'm whether I lose cred or not, I am one of the players that more often than not will pick the easy difficulty. Because to me, it's about the story with the gameplay that, and if it becomes like I walk in the park, as long as I can go change it later, I'm cool. I mean, sometimes you're locked in, right? But that's pretty rare if you're locked in. But yeah, I'm the guy that starts the game and I'm like, I'm going to try easy because I want to see the story. I want to see the cool shit.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Wolf.
Yeah.
Wolf, you were going to say something. I don't want to.
I was, and luckily I remember. Uh, I was gonna say, like, difficulty levels are also like it just varies by game. Like, I know we shit on Jake a lot about his difficulty with Kirby, but then he went and played Animal Well, and I played Animal Well, and he had a lot of fun.
Yeah.
He didn't find it too difficult most of the time. I struggled like a mofo in that game. Like,
Mhm.
and I like 2D platformers. Just something about it didn't click with me. And so
Right.
it was hard as hell for me. But
Yeah.
I mean, it's one of those things where it's like, oh, this game's not too hard, whatever, blah blah blah. Like, yeah, we give Jake a hard time because we think, oh, it's Kirby, it's cute little pig guy. But I mean, a game can be difficult for other people regardless of whatever, right? Like,
Sure.
Right. Right.
it's sometimes the mechanics just don't click with you, or certain aspects just aren't your jam. And so yeah, but don't gatekeep it because of that. Like, that's one of the things I like that with Elden Ring is you can play in a way that opens up the gameplay for you, whereas Dark Souls kind of didn't offer that so much. And
And
I
the
saw
opposite of
people
that, it
shitting
made
all
it
over
hard.
it.
It also did something like where I think mobs don't respawn if you use the save spots too often, so it makes it even more difficult because you can't grind levels, and that's what threw me off of that series.
Yeah, I bounced off of every Dark Souls game I played, and honestly, all the stuff I've read and heard about Elden Ring makes me want to try it. It's just I don't have the time to sit and play that big of
it's a
that
time
game.
thing.
I have
Or-
other
or-
big games I already own.
Or
that I
the
need to make that time for.
$70 to try out and see if it's
Yeah.
if you're gonna bounce
I'm
off.
sure
of it.
I'd enjoy it, honestly.
Oh, it's worth it.
Yeah.
But that's
But-
again, I can say it's worth it because I love it. I if I played Animal Well, I'd probably struggle with it too. I'm not great with those kinds of games. I'm not good at the Messenger. I struggle through the hell through Messenger. I loved Sea of Stars, which was my wheelhouse to play it in. We all have our different stylistically games that we play. I'm the Dark Souls guy in our team because that just clicks with me. It just works with me. It's hard as hell, but I don't understand giving up. I can't just throw my controller down. I don't know how to do that.
You're charred headed.
I'm very chart headed, and it's the same thing with Tunic. When everybody played Tunic, they were like, "This is too fucking hard. We're gonna turn on the accessibility. And we're gonna enjoy the game." While I'm sitting here stabbing my monitor with anything that I can find because I'm like, "Why can't I just pass this part with easy?" And literally, these guys are like, "Just turn on the accessibility." And I said, "No, I'm going to beat this the way I know how to beat these stupid games. I'm going to do it." And I did it, but it took me twice as long to get through. I forgot what happened with the damn story because I was stuck in that part for so freaking long that I had to go back and
the Spirit
remember everything
Realm?
that was going on. Yeah. It was
Yeah.
that whole
Yeah, that part was
Coliseum
rough.
thing. I was stuck there
Yeah.
forever.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
and I don't none of these guys, except for maybe Sinistar, do I consider not a gamer. They get their own shit. They do their own thing. I love you, Sinistar. We just have different styles that work with us better. And
That's
someone's
actually
gonna
a great example. Because what you sat there and beat your head against that Coliseum fight. I tried, and after a while, I was like, this ain't working. I got to turn on something, and I don't remember what I turned on. It might have been Infinite Health. It might have just been Infinite Spirit. I don't recall anymore. But I just had to get past that part because I was so into the lore and decrypting the language in this game. Like, that was my thing.
Oh, you went fucking deep, man.
And I didn't even go all that deep compared to a lot of people. But
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, yeah, there's some people that spent livelihoods to get more lore out of that game, but you came pretty damn close. I feel the same way with all of the Souls games right now in that respect of digging for lore, listen to Vadi, buying the damn books. I love that stuff. So, obviously Tunic being all four of one of our favorite games we've ever played as a team together. That's how I feel about this is my Tunic. Like Elden Ring and this stuff is my Tunic because it's exactly the kind of pace and stuff that I like. And I never imagined that I would be so into something of this difficulty that you can't change, because I remember being younger and being like, oh, this is hard. Oh, I can change it on the fly, or I'm going to turn it back to normal, beat this thing, and then I'll turn it back up to hard. Like,
Right.
that's not, it's just I just want to get through this now. Now it's just I want to get through this, and I don't have that option anymore, and I like that. I like being forced to keep doing the same thing over and over again until you learn. It's that TikTok I sent you guys where it's like me going up against the boss for the 800th time, not even changing my strategies.
Right. Right. Or
So,
being like,
you know.
I think I've learned his his
I think I know where this is. I think I know where this is.
I think I've learned where
Nope.
his pattern. Oh,
Nope. I haven't learned shit.
Uh-huh.
I've only learned to hate myself a little bit more. But
I always find it wild
I
that
mean-
you like Souls games, but you don't necessarily like the platformers, the 2D platformers that are hard as hell.
I know it's so
That
weird.
always it's wild to me because Messenger, like Wolf and I will attest, is one of our favorite games I think of ever. It's at least a top 25 or 50. It's up there, and then you don't like it
It's a
at
good
all,
game.
but it's a great game.
I don't not like it at all. Don't get me wrong. I don't worship it like you. You guys don't
Right.
worship it, but you love that game. You
It's
love
really good,
that
yeah.
game.
Yeah,
And I'm like,
there's so many
this is
things
cool,
about it,
but
that
I'm so
just tick
pissed
my
about
boxes.
it.
Yeah.
Yep.
And yeah, I respect that they don't necessarily tick charge boxes. Like for me, it's got it has time travel, it has multiverse, it has Metroidvania, it
has
has
humor.
platforming, it has humor, it has
Humor.
badass
Yeah.
music. Like there's
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
many boxes it checks for
Yeah.
me that I'm like, yes.
Oh,
Yep.
I'm
But I
still
also
I'm still
Yep.
slow rolling the Messenger, and I'm loving it. But I'm
Good.
slow rolling it. Like I get
Right.
back to it and I play like 15 to 30 minutes of it, and then I'm like, okay, I'm going to bounce off of it, so I'm going to step away,
Yeah.
and then I come back. Right? I've
Yeah.
been enjoying it, but I've been slow rolling it. But
That's my
But I-
tactic. Sinistar and I have a similar tactic with
But
the
I- Yeah,
messenger.
but I agree.
I dug
it
into
has,
the messenger
Yeah.
the way Chard digs into Elden Ring, right?
Yeah.
Right.
But on the Messenger, I agree. It has all the boxes. It's a glorious game for sure. It's a struggle for me. So I just, when I feel like I'm going to bounce off, I go and play something else.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, no,
So-
I totally recognize it's a challenge. Like I went and did like the challenge stuff that was in that game.
Yeah.
And I had a blast with it. But then, my buddy, he loved the game also, but he had hard points that he couldn't get past. I don't think he did the DLC. He bounced off pretty quickly with like the first boss because it changed up mechanics so much that he was like, no. And I was like, I'm sorry you didn't like it. I mean, at least he didn't have to pay for it because it was free DLC. But I was like,
Right.
I'm sorry you didn't like that part because I loved it. But I
Same.
get it. Like, I'm not
Right.
sitting there like, oh, why didn't you like it? Like, that's the thing I don't
Yeah.
understand. Like,
Well,
he
yeah,
enjoyed
that
the main game. And I love that he enjoyed the main game. That gave us something to share.
that's
Are you
an
talking about the Messenger
entirely
DLC?
yeah. That's
Yeah.
what he's talking.
I never finished it either. Actually, for the same thing, I bounced it off early, and I always want to go back and play it, but for some reason I bounced off it, which is weird because I love the main game.
I mean, that's another type of gatekeeping is that whole, how dare you not like this game that I
Yeah.
like, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I find
think-
myself backpedaling on that a lot because there are people that they don't love the game that I'm playing, but I'm like, but why?
But it's awesome. Look at it.
But why?
Just look at it.
Just why?
Would you
You
so just look at it? Just look at this.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, I get why people like the Dark Souls franchise. They're not for me. I
Mhm.
can't
Right.
enjoy them.
You
But
explain it best.
I
Everybody
see
has
the
that
appeal.
internal
I
checklist.
understand,
Yeah.
that masochism that people have. Like, there's something there.
No, there's nothing there. That's the problem. We're filling it with pain and sorrow.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, you there's something there that's like, I need. It's the same with going into
I'm
a brand
trying
new
to fill
game
the
in hard
void.
mode.
Hey, at least I'm not overeating. Okay, I'm playing Dark Souls instead of being fat.
I really think Chard wants everybody to love Elden Ring because misery loves
do.
company.
It's
Because
so
misery
I-
loves
good.
company.
I think I would. And that's a problem because I don't want to spend the money on something I won't play for 5 years
and,
or more.
and like
Get it.
300 hours of free time that none of us have because it's another one of
Yeah.
those, right? Yeah.
Right? It for me, it's been a struggle to beat. What's it called?
Okami.
Hi-Fi Rush.
Oh,
Mm.
I've been playing through Hi-Fi Rush, but every level is like an hour long, and I'm like, it's for me, it gets one level gets broken up into, 2 to 5 sessions most of the time.
Right.
Does
And,
it play?
Like, the game?
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, does it play on the Steam Deck?
Oh, it plays
Because
great on the Steam Deck.
Okay,
I'm constantly pause it, sleep,
yeah,
come back to it later.
so exactly. You've got your own save. You've got your own save points.
Yeah, so that's what I'm doing. And the game isn't even all that hard. It's like I can see, like, if you can't handle the timing, I can understand where there would be difficulty for people. But I'm like, the music has the beats going. So as long as you have sound, and you don't even really need sound, it has like accessibility options where you can turn on a little beat timer on the bottom so you know when the
that's
beats
cool.
are, even if you don't have sound.
That's
And
cool.
honestly, your little cat 808 is floating next to you, also showing those
Wait.
beats constantly.
The cat's
And
name
the
is
world of-
808.
Yeah.
Oh my god, that's a
Is that a
drum machine
reference?
track. Yes, it is.
Oh,
It's
okay.
an 808 is a type of drum machine that was used. I think Trent Reznor actually used it to do close.
Aha!
Very
That would
cool.
We've used
Well, 'cause
808s in my.
9 Inch Nails is the first boss music and the last boss music. So
Okay.
Yeah.
You can at me if you want to on that, but I'm pretty sure that's we used an 808 mini. It's like a drum machine, essentially. The 808 drum machine.
that's
The
that's
joke
pretty
was
cool.
like I could
know
fucking
that.
write a song with an 808, and he did, and he wrote closer.
But yeah, like I can see the game not clicking with people, which I would be sad about it because the story, the acting, like the sense of humor in the game, it's all top tier.
Yeah.
But if you don't click with a rhythm-based game, it's
Yeah.
just not going to hit for you, which is
Right.
like, I can understand that. It makes me sad because I want to share this game with friends,
Well,
but like, my buddy, I
right.
think he would love it. I would think he would love the story. I don't think he would enjoy the gameplay.
Right.
I want to share the story of The Witcher 3 and the DLCs with Chard, but he keeps saying he will never play that game.
I didn't
So
say
good
never.
though, Chard.
Say not right now. Not right now.
So
I will
good.
get to it at some point. I have it. I have purchased it. I have all the DLCs. I will play it eventually. I just have
I'm
too much on my list that I want to play first.
so happy he's gonna start play through those. And I know it's a big ask, right? It's like, yes, the main
120
game
hours.
is good, but yeah, and after the 100 hours, we get to the DLC. DLC is so worth it. I mean, the whole game is worth it. But I really loved Blood and Wine, and I'm glad you liked it as well. And I wish everybody would experience this game.
The first DLC, I very nearly bounced. I know we're going total segue, but I very nearly bounced off of the first DLC. I'm glad I stuck with it because the end of the first DLC was amazingly good.
Yeah.
And then the final DLC was epic in its own right. I mean, yeah. Anyway, I digress.
We can loop it back around and say, because Jake is now replaying Elden Ring, now I'm happy that he's giving it a shot and he's progressing in it, which is awesome. So now he gets to live with me in this world of lore that is written in all the armor and spells and people that you meet. And now I got somebody to talk about it with, other than
I will say,
telling me to stop being greedy.
Go ahead,
What's that, Wolf?
Go, Wolf.
I was gonna say, and that's what I don't understand about gatekeeping, because gatekeeping, like, where is the fun in that? You're putting your hand up in front of people and saying, no, don't enjoy this thing unless you enjoy it a specific way. Instead
Love
of
my
like,
game, but love it my way.
enjoy this thing with me.
Yeah.
You know?
Right. Yeah.
Baldur's Gate 3 is the ultimate example of like how gatekeeping is like, because everybody enjoys that game differently, because every choice you make makes a different pathway, right? I mean, like,
there were still people complaining about the save scumming, right? People were like, "Oh, you save scum. Oh, you're not playing it right." Who the fuck are you to tell me how to play this game?
Why is it in the game? Why is it there?
Yeah, why did they allow me to save mid fight? Like, why? Anyway.
Yeah.
Why?
I mean, it would be like telling it. It kind of reminds me of the soup Nazi.
Yeah.
If you don't enjoy it how I give it to you, you don't get to enjoy it, right?
Yeah.
Whereas, like, okay, I love a good Mexican street taco.
Right.
But one of the ingredients on a good Mexican street taco for me is cilantro. Not everybody likes cilantro. Some people it tastes like soap. That sucks. But I would say get it without cilantro, still enjoy the damn street taco because it's still going to be good.
Yeah, your accessibility option is whether or not you use cilantro.
But you don't you don't throw in that jab at the end where you're like, yeah, you can get a street taco without cilantro. There's no street taco.
How was your not street taco?
How was your non-street taco?
It's still gonna be good. Like there are some people
lies.
I don't enjoy chili with beans in it.
Okay.
That's
And I love it
But-
with beans in it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that's fine. But I don't like beans, so I don't like chili with beans. Like that's one of my things. But I'm still gonna love. Like I'll try a chili with beans. Sometimes it's good. Most of the time, I'd rather not have the beans. That's my accessibility option: is chili without beans.
Is that a retro
I'm over here
achievement?
with
Bean free mode, bean
That's
free
right.
run.
That's right.
chili con carne.
Nope.
That's what that is.
No
No, and I'm
magical
over here
fruit.
with 3 beans in my fucking chili.
Yeah.
3 different styles of beans in my chili.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
I
all
think-
about the 3-bean chili. Yeah, for sure.
So I think to wrap it up for the week is honestly the best, the greatest gaming times with gaming I've had over the last number of years are those games that are like the water cooler talk games, the games that you can talk with friends, either here on the podcast with you guys offline or my coworkers, the games that are water cooler moments. And yes, Tunic is definitely one of those, right? And that's why I was glad when Wolf picked up Animal Well, is because that's another game I wanted to talk about to somebody and just share the experience. But there's games where it's just better when more people play it. And why is more people playing a game that you love a bad thing? And it's not. It's
not.
They may not play the way
It's
you do.
not. Like-
That's fine, right? Yeah.
It's
My-
it's
Go
a
ahead.
shared experience, which is always like generally people enjoy a shared experience.
Yeah.
It's more success, better sales numbers for this thing you enjoy, which results in more things
Right.
like this
Get
thing
you a
you
sequel
enjoy
or an
from the
expansion
people
or a
who
DLC or
created
something.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
there's no downside to having the holding the gate open for people and letting them in.
Yep.
There's only downsides for gatekeeping, and it's so stupid to me.
To actually quote my father of Sinistar, get over yourself.
Get over it. Get over it.
All right. Well, folks, I think that wraps another week of Press B to Cancel. If you're listening to us, please drop a review if able to on your favorite podcast app. It definitely helps. Or if you're watching us here on YouTube, subscriptions are free. Drop a like on the video as well. It does help. And we're trying to grow our numbers up. Tell a friend. As well, you can find all of our links to our
Don't
stuff over on
gatekeep
Press.
our stuff.
Yeah, don't gatekeep our podcast.
I
You can
only
check us out
listen
at
on the
Please share it.
podcast on my
pressbtocancel.com.
radio.
Find us our links at pressb.com, pressbtocancel.com. God damn it, you guys. Pressb.org is the alternative for at least a year. And you can, of course, find us over at YouTube or on Twitter most often, or occasionally on Facebook and Instagram. Folks, okay, who's been doing stuff? Wolf, have you been doing anything recently? Anything you want to shout out in particular?
No, I have been playing through Hi-Fi Rush. I beat it. I worked through the extra content, and now there's even more extra content that I just unlocked. And it's not just like do more stuff. It's actually unlocks more plot, which I'm excited about. So
Okay.
that's been pretty cool.
I think you and I are going to do an episode on Hi-Fi Rush. Actually, maybe next week.
I would
We'll-
absolutely love to do that. There was something else.
Good idea.
Oh, yeah, I've been playing Escape the Backrooms, which
Okay.
holy crap, that game is enormous.
Oh, is it? I have.
Oh
it.
my gosh, my buddy and I have put 9 hours into it so far, and we don't see the end yet.
Oh, wow.
You haven't
Okay.
escaped
And that's
yet.
like we're picking up like the file where we left off last week and still going.
Oh,
Hmm.
okay.
Huh.
I gotta get into that.
That's good.
And it's early access, so they're still adding content. So if you like a good scary game, and it's not just like crap your pants scary like Inside the Backrooms was, which we played. Like and let me be specific. This is Escape the Backrooms I'm talking about. None of the other
Right,
ones.
right.
Right.
The variation in experiences throughout the game that we've seen so far is wild to me.
Nice.
Huh.
I like
It's sometimes it's puzzle solving, sometimes it's keep out of sight of the monster,
Yeah.
sometimes it's a combination of both, sometimes it's
Right.
something else entirely, and it's just been really cool, lots of fun, and we've had a few good jump scares where we just scream like children and run away.
Nice.
All right, great. I think
Well-
I think I slept in that franchise. I should have taken it more. Sinister, how about you? What have you been doing? I know you've been doing
so-
quite a lot of Twitch stuff lately.
Yeah, so my
Yeah.
alternate Twitch account, and there's a reason why Twitch has introduced this whole DJ thing, or is introducing this whole DJ thing. But DJ Spinistar, thank you, Chard, for that one.
Such a good name.
on Twitch. Mondays and Tuesdays I do my own stuff. On Saturdays I do stuff with Soul Archaic. But I've been having a blast with that. And then on my own time, I have the ultimate dad win. My oldest for Father's Day got me Number of the Beast on vinyl, Iron Maiden. And my youngest got me 1,000 Year Door. So I've started playing 1,000 Year Door. I thought I'd played it before. I'm not remembering any of it. It's fantastic. The humor in 1,000 Year Door is great.
1,000 Year Door is amazing.
Yeah, so I'm not doing that on stream or anything, but I'm just basically maybe we'll have a podcast on 1,000 Year Door.
Oh, geez, I gotta dust mine off. I haven't played that in
there you go.
fucking years.
And Chart, how about you? What have you been doing besides Erdtree?
I think we discussed everything that I'm doing currently. Now I've been playing a lot of Erdtree. Obviously, I'm in love with this game. I think it's fantastic. I wanted to caveat before we ended it. It is difficult. It is very hard, but it's designed to be that way. And you play the game however you deem it necessary to get where you want to get to the game. Don't let anybody gatekeep you or tell you can't do something. If it's in the damn game, just let yourself do it and have fun with it. It is a challenge, and it will be a challenge. And the feeling of beating something that you've been fighting 800 times and finally conquering it is one of the best feelings in the world. And that's probably why I like these, because the dopamine hit you get when you finally beat that boss you've been beating up, that's kicking the shit out of you for hours, is just off the charts. And it's not, there's nothing worse. I'm sorry, I'm going on a tangent here, but when I lost in one to the golden hippo, it was like someone stole my sneeze from me. It was so like disappointing because I won, but I also died in a really shitty fashion. Yeah,
right there.
Like, I don't care, we did it. It was like, no, I don't want to count that one. I want to do that again. So,
so what you're saying, Chart, is your aspect of life is the beatings will continue until the dopamine hits.
Till the dopamine hits, exactly. As soon as that dopamine hits, you got to get it backed up, you know. Once we're done with Erdtree, then I have my dream of starting the RCU, which is the Remedy Connected Universe, which is Alan Wake, Quantum Break, Control, Alan Wake 2, and then the newly dropped Alan Wake DLC that has the characters from Control, Quantum Break, and Alan Wake 2 in it. So there's some cool shit that's coming down the pipeline that I'll be streaming. And I'm getting the itch to play Armored Core 6 again. So you might see that again. I don't know. We'll see what happens. But that's awesome. Fromsoft does that to me. Once I'm done with the other one, I got to find the new drug that's in Fromsoft.
That's right.
Got to beat myself on something else.
Well, there's always, was it Cookies and Cream, right? There's always that game.
Always Cookies and Cream.
For myself, I've been mostly guesting other podcasts. Do check out Remember 64. I was with Jiggy Look Back and Dave. That's his show where we talked about Superman 64 a couple weeks back. That was a fun time. Shitty game. It was a good conversation. He's been doing some clips on TikTok of us as well. Retro Wars UK. Danny, I've done a few episodes for him. I don't think they've all come out yet. That guy backlogs like you would not believe. He's got like 50 episodes in the bank. We should do that.
Wow.
So he can take a year off.
We have one, okay?
We have
one. He's got 50. Like this guy could disappear off the grid for a year and still be pumping out content. I really respect the guy's hustle with podcasting. But I'm recording one with him tomorrow. It comes out sometime this year, I think. But his show is really great. He's done some really great guests lately. He had Justin Wong on for one. He also had what's his name, Alan Blank from Remember Me podcast, which is also one I like to listen to, fellow Canadian. So I'm definitely doing that. I'm also trying to record stuff on the side, but I just have not a lot of time because of Elden Ring. Because that's a time
record your Elden Ring.
Yeah, record Elden Ring.
Nobody wants to see me face rolling Elden Ring for 4 hours against the boss. That's
Nobody
not
wants
content.
to watch me do it either. But guess what? People show up sometimes. Just have fun and do it.
Maybe.
And put it up on the screen.
I'll
watch that. I'll fucking be there.
I'll tell you why I'm playing it through again, though, is honestly, it runs on the Steam Deck charge so good, and it still looks great on the Steam Deck. I'm amazed.
Great.
And even the battery life is okay.
I think I saw a Steam Deck drop recently, like today.
LCD version,
I saw. Well, I think I saw that they're allowing recording.
Oh, game recording, maybe.
Yeah.
Oh, stop!
I don't know.
That's going to open up some windows. Damn.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Anyway. All right, folks. That's been a show. Okay. This has been Press B to Cancel. Thanks, everybody.
Hold on! Hold on!
One more time.